Hexaco. You guys ready for the Hexaco sacrifice phase? You know what? I was thinking about that earlier today, and I'll talk about it on stream for a minute. It wouldn't be too crazy if we had a Hexaco sacrifice, right? In the next 2 years. I'll just go with the two theme. You get there's like a DAO for land rights, and a few $1 billion could probably buy us some physical needs, land, access, infrastructure to get a country founded. I think so. So get those wallets ready. Get your PulseChain Hex gains ready to go into Hexaco sacrifice. You want to live free? We're starting a country. That's the catchphrase, I guess. Total speculation, just top of my head. I have no internal knowledge or haven't seen anyone else talk about this. I just thought it'd be funny if we did a sacrifice for starting Richard's country and all the cool stuff from that. Maybe it's I guess how else would you fund it unless you just personally funded it, which he doesn't seem to be personally funding, or I guess he would be personally funding a lot of stuff these days and locking up the rest. Anyways, interesting idea. I wanted to throw it out there. Welcome. This is the security AMA, so I should probably talk about security stuff too. Today we have Ben Dubard back on stream. He is my go-to for hardware wallets because I don't do a lot of demos with him, and he nervously puts them together for us. So I appreciate him coming back to show us how to click around, and we're going to talk about SushiSwap, the hack that happened recently. Pretty interesting. I got a thread that we're going to pull up and talk about at the intro, and then go to he's got a demo around that on how to use revoke.cash. So if you and your family have been affected by the SushiSwap, then we can help you. Ben and MACS, attorneys at law, will. I got Furu in my mind. I was in that chat earlier talking to him and Ben. So fun times in Hexaco. A lot of cool stuff happening. A lot of bad stuff as far as the SushiSwap hack. If hopefully no Hexicans lost money through that, hopefully, and you've revoked permissions. We're going to show you how to do it. And also talk about Opsec. I got some interesting stuff that, again, I don't think a lot of people are talking about on that area as well. And airdrops, another thing I thought of the other day. I said, hey, let me add that to the notes for the security AMA coming up with Ben. I want to talk about some more airdrop security stuff that you all may not be aware of. So share the stream with other people if you would like to do that. I tweeted it out. Ben's tweeted it out. Let's get a few people in here rocking, but we're going to get into it in just a second. Let me say hi to the chat. Jamie Barker, welcome. Greetings and salutations to you as well, Jamie. We got the Chad of Chads, the Don of the party of Donner. He brings the maximum abs to the frog meme. Chad Donner Swans, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, Ben, I do. My intro is again, all credit to Markable for that. I did. Let's see. Can I give myself any credit for that? He did all the work, and I did like the design a lot of it. He did. I don't know. Let's see. It was like a 70-30 on design too, because it's kind of like I produced it in a way. Like he was like the artist and I was like producing it. So I guess I'll give myself some credit for the design, but yeah, 80, 90, 85% of that was him. We worked together on that for, gotta say, a couple months. We worked getting, just like revision after revision after revision, and it came out, and I think it's a keeper. I think it's a keeper. Hex Glenn, welcome to the show, sir. Welcome. Good to see you. Hope we can bring some knowledge today. I know Ben's itching to get at it too. Top 5 crypto. I know what's in my top 5. Reminds me, I was clipping some more vintage RH stuff because I take a break, but I just go back to it every once in a while because I like watching some of his old stuff. And he's like, we're gonna have 5 tokens, and it was Hex, PHEX, PLS, PLSX, and incentive token. And your name reminded me of that, so cool. Glad you come. Kaiser, the master of clips. Appreciate you. Welcome. Furu Finance in the house. Have you subscribed to Furu Finance? Have you subscribed? Apparently he keeps telling this story, and I'm like, I guess you were. That's so crazy that he was because he was doing pre-recorded videos for a while, and I was like, hey, why don't you do live streams? And I think when you're first starting out, you kind of like find your niche. You don't really know what to do, and I just went straight into live stream. So I kind of skipped that whole like, what should I do type of thing. I was like, live streams and clips. That's my deal. That's what I'm going to do. And then I think, I guess did I have him on the show? And then that was his like first time on the Hexagon channel. I think that's the story. So good times, man. Good times. It was last summer sometime. He was decked out in that lawyer gear and couldn't get enough of it. Caliente, one of my favorite Spanish words. Cool name. Welcome. Yeah, we hope to give you some alpha, some beta, some what are the other things? I forget all the Greek stuff. I try to give you some of the good ones, at least. What? Unplugged dad? I don't know what. Oh, I see what you're saying. I was like, treehouse? What are you talking about? Was it? Nothing. Actually, I haven't been on Telegram, Unplugged Dad. So I is something happening? I mean, it's on. Nothing has changed as far as that goes. So cryptographics will be in the house tonight. We can't wait to hang out with him in a couple hours or so. Luna Seapoint, welcome. Crypty Girl is in the house. Welcome, Crypty Girl. Awesome to see you as well. Welcome to the show. Good to see you in the chat. And we're going to get started. We're going to bring Ben in because we probably won't go too far today, maybe an hour or so. I think we have enough to cover about that time. So if you got any questions, put them in the chat. And always remember your first. I love it, man. Yeah, I know. I get to get in your chat and put all the references, and you get to come to mine and do it as well. So that's awesome, man. All right, without further ado, I'm going to leave Crypto Girl up here for a minute. Without further ado, Ben Dubard, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Before we start, I don't think I want to be here if Furu Finance is going to be in the chat. So I think you might need to kick him out first. He's kind of killing my vibe.
I got 3 dots, and I got put user in timeout and block user. Which one do you think is good for Furu Finance?
I think we block him forever.
At the bottom, if you scroll down, there is a block forever button. So we could try that.
Well, that's okay. Let's just get into it.
Okay. Well, we're gonna stew on it a little bit. We got some time. Come back to it. Maybe at the end of the show we can decide. Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Furu.
I'll accept it. It's fine.
All right. We can cancel them anytime. Don't worry. Yeah, man. How you been? I know it's been like 3 weeks since the last show. It's been a long time since the last show, and I know we didn't cover everything last time, so I wanted you to come back and get into it.
It's crazy. It feels like we just did it like recently. I don't know.
Feels like the first time.
I guess it was a few weeks ago. Time is flying by.
It is. It's it's like I do a stream with coffee every month or 6 weeks, and every time I have him on stream, I'm like, man, it feels like 6 months ago that we were on the stream, like me on him or his on mine, but it's only it's always like 6 weeks away. It's crazy. I guess when you're plugged in, it's time passes more slowly.
Hexaco, man, we're in a time vortex.
I know. Hexaco. I know. Are you doing the Hexaco sack? Are you doing the Hexaco sacrifice?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think I would be in for that. I feel like that's again, everyone purely theoretical. I just made this up today, but I thought it'd be interesting if there was a sacrifice for Hexaco to fund, the country and infrastructure building and stuff. It's not too far fetched, right? Like, put money in a DAO or something, and somehow, how all the sacrifice work in some way or another, and it gets used to do stuff. And like, this is just a country thing. So never know.
Cool.
Yeah, if that gets tweeted, somebody clip this and be like, "Oh, Max called it," like in April. If the sex happened in 2 or 3 years from now. I think Richard's got other stuff on his mind right now. Hopefully he gets back to Scivive, as he said 500 times he was going to do, and then he's busy with PulseChain right now. But maybe Scivive, and I mean, I guess he doesn't have that much to do with Scivive for Scivive anymore, since we got it to the editor, and hopefully we'll see how that goes, and maybe it'll make it in print. Maybe we'll get it in print this year. That'd be awesome. That's I don't want to say it's a goal of mine and SJ, of course, to do that, but I think it'd be awesome if we could do it. So we're not working on it. We'll say that.
Nice.
Anyways, security stuff. Let's get very serial. By the way, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. I never wear long sleeve shirts on stream. Probably the first or second time I've did that, but I had this one and I liked it. I was like, I got to break this out. I haven't worn it yet. So got it on. It's going to probably make me a little bit more sweaty, but that's fine. Security. So Ben, why are you here? What do you know?
Well, I have a lot of people message me or DM me with help. And I have one guy who you might be watching. I told him to watch. He was struggling to understand like the permissions thing. I think people get confused with I connected my wallet versus I approved permission of a smart contract to access my funds. And his confusion was I thought my hardware wallet was this infallible wall. And what finally we were texting, what finally got him to understand was I said, it's the same logic as like you have a hardware wallet, but if you send your money to the wrong address, you still lose it. And so you have this infallible wall, but if you open your gates to, a bad actor, they can still come in and wreck you, steal your money. So the confusion was, oh, if I unplug my hardware wallet, I close my computer, I'm completely safe. Well, yes, unless you have approved a smart contract, you've given permission of a contract to access your funds, and then that contract is either malicious or it gets hacked or something like that. Yeah, you could still lose your money because you've basically opened the window and said, yes, I'm okay to let there be an opening here because I trust who's on the other side of the window or whatever. So, and connecting your wallet to something, I'm pretty sure like maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. Like if you're just connecting your wallet to something, you're usually fine. Like you don't really give access to funds because you give access to read your wallet and stuff. But
it's a very underknown question, I guess. It's like one of those everyone asks. It's like one of the first things you should ask is like, what happens if I go to a website? Like, am I going to get hacked like automatically? And I did a lot of research on this because I was like, well, I don't think so, but I had to do a bunch of research. And again, I'm gonna shill my blogs here because I put pretty much every ounce of knowledge I had during that time in them. And so, but the long story short, it can't automatically happen. As far as I know, there's no automatic attacks. If you go to a website, it just happens. You have to click some button. But that doesn't mean you're safe, though. It doesn't mean like there's not some elaborate tricks to make you click some button, which there totally are. That's why this stuff happens all the time. Either the usual attacks are you go to some hacked website and it presents you with, hey, connect to my DApp, and it'll say the same, stuff, except maybe the address will be different. And that's why I say when you go back, you give approvals, you connect to some DApp, it's always good to go to Etherscan, look up the official contract and numbers and compare the last four and all that stuff and make sure it's actually the one you want to talk to. So that could be like a fake website. It could be the legit website hacked, things like that. So I talk about it here. Let's see, let me scroll down. I talk about a lot of different stuff. Again, if you haven't seen the blog and you want to actually know how this stuff works at a technical level, liquidity pool, rug pools, the front runner bot stuff from Uniswap, like again, the front end compromised. So the DNS hijacking, I cover that stuff as well. I added a lot more of this stuff when the Curve.fi hack happened late last year, I think somewhere like that. Let's see. And then a whole bunch of stuff, how to protect yourself as well. But yeah, you can't, as far as I know, there's no attack where you go to a website and money's gone. It is, you go to a website and you either sign something or you connect and do some kind of transaction where it can be pulled. And all the technical details, like I said, are in the blog of all the different use cases. But it doesn't mean you're secure. It doesn't mean just because you can't visit a website and get hacked, it doesn't mean you're secure, because that's just the first step. This is a landing page. That's a watering hole is another security terminology of like getting you to go to a place that looks legit, or getting you to go to a place and get a bunch of people to do something, click on something, run something, sign something. And it's very, very common. So I dropped this post in there and I'll drop the other one. These are my two go-to security guides to talk about all these different scenarios. And of course, nice. I got some stuff on the channel too, but this is where like I'd actually document like how the MetaMask approvals work. And I probably forgot about half the stuff anyways. When I'm doing the research is like I'm keyed in, I'm like very sharp at it. Okay, I can explain it, I can put it into text. But if I haven't looked at it for a year or so, it's like, okay, oh yeah, there is permit function, all this stuff. That's how that works. So I even use it as a reference myself sometimes when I forget how this stuff works, such as revoke.cash. But we'll go back to that too. But this is for the SushiSwap stuff, and this is the best tweet that I saw. I know, Ben, you retweeted or quote tweeted K for K today, or otherwise got it to me, I believe, about from 0x Food Bar. Excellent write-up of what actually happened with the router exploit, the code and all that. Very interesting how he explains this. I know no one's going to understand if we go through the code, and there's actually an exploit so you can prove that this stuff works and all that stuff too. But I like this thread. I just wanted to go through it for a minute. Uniswap v3 is an optimistic swap. And I've read about the optimistic swaps before. Super interesting how this stuff works. Normally, when you request to give one token A for 2 token B, you might expect to pay that much and get token B. That's the usual way of explaining how this stuff works, which is fine for the layperson just to really grok it. But it's actually a little bit more in depth than that. But Uniswap goes in reverse. It sends you token B, then expects you to send it token A in return, and which is much harder to explain to the average person. Since transactions are atomic, which means all or nothing, this isn't a huge deal. It makes features like flash loans or flash swaps easier. But this also means the burden is on the user or the swap aggregator to pay token A at the end of the transaction. And that's what the callback function does, the code they referenced. Uniswap v3 can have jagged liquidity, shown here, but liquidity varies significantly as the price changes. The sum of piecewise step functions. So if you want to pull itself, calculate how much token A you have, pass that data via the callback. So just technical details. So here's the interesting part too of what actually happened here. The v3 pool can't change behavior, and the code is immutable, audited, battle tested in production. However, that's what makes it so important that you ensure you're interacting with a real v3 pool, not an impersonator. You have to check whether it's deployed by the v3 factory. That's the fatal mistake here. The sushi aggregator doesn't check whether the callback caller was a v3 pool. It just matched the original route. So the MEV bots deployed a fake pool, so returned malicious token A, addresses, amounts, and then stole the money. So super good thread, gives you a lot of resolution, kind of trying to understand what happened. For the average person, you don't really need to understand what happened. You just need to be like, okay, revoke your stuff, which is what Ben's going to get into in a minute. But for the person who likes all the technical details, super interesting to read about what actually causes these types of bugs and how they get exploited. So your comment, Ben Dubard.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I personally, some wallets, I have all permissions revoked always because I don't use them necessarily. They're more like cold storage. So that could be something you would want to do. But I would say usually you'd be safe leaving permissions for something like Uniswap or SushiSwap. But I mean, what is your opinion on that? I think it's probably fine with Uniswap, right? And was this exploit, if someone had approved their USDC balance, does that mean that they were in danger as well? Or what people were in danger over this thing? Was it everyone who had granted permission to SushiSwap, or?
That's a good question. So, to your first one, should you revoke Uniswap and other dApps and stuff like that? I would say this is so everything's specific to the product that you're using, unless there's some shared code. And if it was, that was a thing, then when it affects Uniswap and other stuff, we should know by now. I imagine anyone who knows the technical stuff about this and is looking for these types of bugs, and developers of those teams would be looking at their own dApps and their own dexes and stuff and making sure that it's not. Now, the point on that too, if there's forks of SushiSwap that are not fixed, that's totally possible. I haven't looked into that part, but I wouldn't say that anything on Uniswap or otherwise, I wouldn't assume they're vulnerable, especially if it's Uniswap, where they are the gold standard. They are the people in charge of making sure this stuff doesn't happen, or if it does, it gets fixed and people are notified and stuff. But so, for example, I don't know. I don't see any reason to start revoking those permissions and adding them back because we don't know if there's any security stuff going on there. And sorry, what was your other question?
What users was it every person who had given permission to SushiSwap in some way, or was it a certain?
Let me pull up another thread to maybe we'll have some more info on that. It's a good question. So what kind of approval or what kind of thing would you have had to do to be affected by this? I believe is the framing of the question.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like SushiSwap Router 2 contract has an approval related bug. If you have approved this, okay, let's check that out. I've not went down that far in the rabbit hole, so we're doing it live, doing it together. Cool. Let's see if we can find something out. And then I'll pull up another. Let's see. There's one from SushiSwap, which may have more information as well.
So I guess one of the lessons here is if you've gone on a sketchy decentralized exchange, if you're going to do that, make sure probably wouldn't want to use a wallet that has hex stakes on it. You wouldn't want to grant approval to your wallet with hex stakes. And if you have gone on some sketchy exchanges in the past and you didn't realize that they still had access to your stuff potentially, it's probably worth doing what we're going to show you in a second, which is revoking permissions, which is it's super simple, but it's something, I think it's something useful to know. I used to do a lot of degenning, especially on like the Polygon chain. And, there's these sketchy dexes come out. Like people are like, you might be thinking, why would I ever want to use anything other than PulseX? Well,
good question, Ben. What are you doing? You fud my bags again?
So
you and Fu were on a roll today. You're on a roll. Jeez, no 10,000x, first of all, not even a 10x on launch. And now you're saying, oh, you don't have to use PulseX. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So that's what people are going to be saying who release these sketchy dexes. And not every person who releases a dex is going to be sketchy or whatever, but just what has happened in the past with chains launching is you get all these dexes and they say, hey, our yield is so much better because there's less people over here. Why are you being an idiot on the PulseX earning this much yield for liquidity providing or yield farming or whatever, when you can come to our DEX and earn 10,000%? What are you, stupid? And you go, yeah, oh, wow, this is the new thing. And then you connect to that sketchy DEX and it's actually a scam. And then you lose your money. So just if you're going to mess around with that stuff, maybe like for me, I knew it was risky and whatever, and I was just curious, and now I've learned the lesson the hard way. But that's kind of how I do things. I like learn by doing. And in crypto, that kind of that involves losing money.
Well, so, if you have a hot wallet that just is your test wallet and play around wallet, then yeah, it's. I mean, you could subscribe to that. Just don't do it with your SAC wallet or your retirement.
Yeah, and I wouldn't throw a ton of money into these things, but I could get all into it. These yield farming games where they charge you a percentage to enter the pool, and so it's not even worth going in unless you go in with a certain amount because you're not even going to make back the fee that you paid to enter, because these things usually die within a day or two, and then rarely one won't die within a day or two, and maybe you make a ton of money or whatever. So it's just it's like trading. I mean, honestly, it's like gambling, and that doesn't even take into account the security risks of. So if you're going to do that stuff, don't do it on a wallet that's like hex stakes or has a lot of maybe Pulse or PulseX, your main bag. And then if you didn't realize this, like I did at one point, go back and revoke all the permissions from the sketchy stuff you were interacting with before, and you're like, oh crap, my wallet might be not safe right now. So
yep, exactly. I just wanted to say too on the how to figure out if you're vulnerable. So pretty cool. Sushi.com came up with this deal, and it looks like you can just connect your wallet. It's okay now, and you can see which ones were approved on the router processor too. So it looks like if you use this and you did some approvals there, that's the gist of it, then you could be affected and you want to revoke those. But in general, I think most people, you could just revoke all the stuff you have on Sushi. Again, Ben's going to get to in a minute, show you how to do that, and just add them back as you need to, just be safe. You could use something like that. And then that's the exploit. I just want to see, 3.3 million lost, about 1,800 ETH from So what is this? K-pop idol manager. Is that someone who promoted it or something? I don't know.
I think
Is this from
seafood's like a meme or something, isn't it? I
or
see it around.
a person, a meme or something like that? Okay. Yeah, and then make sure you've okay. Just scroll down, Max. Make sure you've not approved the contracts. Okay, debank DeFi deal. Oh, okay. That's talking about some other stuff too. Interesting. Okay, that could be a good reference as well. I don't know how many people are. I don't know how many hexagons use SushiSwap. I don't think I ever have. So it was not important for me to go through all these actions. Otherwise, I would have probably like a step-by-step guide of how to do it. However, if you have, then we got the info for you. Plenty of links here, and I'll drop. Let's see. I'll drop one. I'll drop that one in the chat. Should be good. Anyone else in the chat needing more information about sushi and links and stuff we're talking about? Let me know, and I'll continue. But that being said, I will hand it over to Mr. Ben and see what's up, man.
So yeah, just worth noting that the last security stream we did, I showed how to connect your hardware wallet to MetaMask and how to make a swap with it. So that's definitely worth going and watching. And RHMax clipped it, and I also clipped it. So if you just wanted to see that clip, but the whole stream is worth watching if you just want to learn some security. But anyway.
Mm-hmm. Great stream.
I say that because I'm going to be using the hardware wallet and like revoking the permissions. And if you're like, oh, what? Maybe I should get one of those. Well, luckily, we have the videos out there to show you how to do it. But anyway, let me share my screen now. Let's see. Where is it?
Bullish on clips. Nice. Came to the right channel, Alan. Got clips, at least, if nothing else. If I don't do another clip, which I think I already have up to May filled up pretty much now, I still have RH coming out, RH vintage and notable clips coming out for 2 years. So if you like seeing RH talk about interesting stuff, or you just like them dim feels of that nostalgic feeling of all the few years ago when he was doing all the 8-hour live streams in the dark with long hair and all the stuff, and up until this year pretty much, then you can find them on my channel. So throw that out there.
All right,
Ben, take us home.
Can you see this?
I can see, and I can see it. Yeah.
Looks the revoke cash thing.
Yep, all good.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, yeah. Sorry. All right. So anyway, revoke.cash is one place you can go. You can also go to Etherscan. They have a token approvals thing, so we'll look at both. But here, let me disconnect. But here you can just go, and this is just like a tutorial wallet I have. Obviously, it's probably best to never use your actual wallet on any kind of stream, right?
It's a good idea,
so,
Ben. Yes.
Yeah. So more than one reason. Your wallet. I'm sorry.
For more than one reason. Yeah, there's many reasons why. Just use a test wallet for everything.
Yeah. So, as you can see here, I had granted permission to compound, and and it tells you when. I don't even remember why I did that. I think I was helping someone who wanted to get on compound, so I went and did it myself to just see. But you can see it's unlimited allowance, which compound is trustworthy. USDC, you wouldn't expect like your stuff to get drained. But basically, if you had some sketchy stuff here and it says, oh, look, you're giving unlimited allowance to this weird DEX that like you forgot you even interacted with, that was super sketchy. You just click revoke, and then you pay a little fee. So I'm going to log into my hardware wallet and enter the PIN. We did a whole tutorial on the hardware wallets last time, like I said. So if you're confused about that, definitely check that out. And then I approve it. And then I approve it on the hardware wallet. So it's like 2-factor authentication. And now I've revoked permission. And so what's interesting is earlier, this USDC was showing here on revoke.cash, but it wasn't showing up on my Ethereum token approval thing. So maybe it's worth going to both and seeing, just in case. I don't know why that was. It might have just been like an interface kind of glitch. Okay, now it shows up. So yeah, that's weird. Earlier, it was only showing compound. It wasn't showing the USDC. So it could be worth just going to both. Just why not? You know, it's pretty easy. And then I'll revoke USDC. I'll show you guys that. I mean, it's so simple. It's not super intimidating. And then I'm going to show you how did I even give permission in the first place? Like, you're like, have I given permission? I don't know. So I'm going to go to Uniswap.
And just to clarify for people too, using a hardware wallet with revoke.cash to add or remove permissions and stuff.
So I don't have any USDC, but let's say, so if this was, maybe you forgot or whatever, but earlier it let me, maybe I didn't revoke it yet. I know I did. Earlier I was able to approve anyway, even though I didn't have USDC. Oops. Well, anyway, if you just saw it just flashed up and it said approve USDC, and then I would have paid like a $2 fee. But what's cool is we can actually go to the test net. We will go to PulseX. Oops, I haven't added. Oh no. All right, let me stop sharing real quick and let me add the PulseChain testnet.
Sounds good.
Sorry, I forgot that last stream I deleted MetaMask to like show people. We did a very thorough tutorial last stream, so.
Somebody asked, how do you delete MetaMask? You're like, I'll show you. Yeah. Nice.
I think I was showing, well, whatever. We don't have to get into it. Just go watch that if you missed it. I feel like a noob. Pressure's on because we're live, and I'm like, where are the PulseChain RPC settings? And then here they are on PulseChain.com.
We're not live. I never hit the go live button. You're good. We got time.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. Man, all these people are really lame, huh? In the Hex community, God, man.
Yeah, I'm just here. I'm just trying to. I can't even say I'm trying to make money because I don't monetize. So like, how can I say the reason I'm here? I'm here just to take people's money, although I have no way to do that. So yeah, I was going to be with you to do the fake banter, Ben, but I don't have much on that one. Sorry.
All right, putting it all in.
Nice.
Copy. Oops. Sorry. I'm a little embarrassed.
No worries, man. It wouldn't be a demo if something didn't go not perfect.
All right. I'll share screen again. Sorry, everyone. Little detour.
If you ever want a bathroom break, coffee break, all right. We're back. Here we go.
Oh, look. I had some TPLS on there. So here we go. I have some Pulse and some PulseX. And if you didn't see, KDP, I think she's responsible for reaching out to revoke.cash to get them to support the PulseChain testnet. So that's pretty cool. So let's try and do a swap here. Got the big bucks. I think. Oh my goodness. So here it is. I have to enable PLSX, okay? And this is me giving approval, and RHMax, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm giving approval to the smart contract to access my PulseX because I trust that they're not going to just take as much as they want. They're only going to take what I say they can. Correct?
Assuming when you click that button, it tells you about the limits and what to do with them. Then yes, I think you're on the right track. Yeah.
Oops. Well, I don't have enough TPLS, but you get the idea. Was that explained well? I think people understand. All right.
So what for PulseX you were explaining?
I was just showing like we revoked permissions, and if anyone was confused as to how they even enabled a permission in the first place, this is how. Like you pay a little fee and you enable the permission.
Gotcha.
So that's really all I needed to show. So people might have forgot. Oh yeah, the first time I swapped, I did have to enable something, and you just forget about it because then from now on you can just swap as much as you want because you've already given permission. So if you wanted to revoke permission, you would go to revoke.cash like we did, and it would show up here. But because I haven't paid this fee, because I'm a broke, you know what? What am I even thinking? I'll just go here and claim some freaking free Pulse and go all the way with this thing. Sorry, I'm kind of tired. I had a pretty long day, so.
I know you just got off with fruit not too long ago. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
It's a great demo for using the T-Pulse faucet here.
All right.
There you go.
Cool. Yeah. So this is where you can, if you didn't sacrifice or whatever, or you want to play around with the testnet on a different wallet than your sacrifice wallet, literally all the links are here on the PulseChain.com. The faucet, the Explorer, stake, bridging. So, all right. Now we're rich and we can do it. Whoa. Now RHMax. So this is where, I don't know if you guys remember earlier, it said unlimited spending on the compound and the USDC when I revoked permissions. So here, isn't this a new feature? I think I learned about this from Crypto Coffee, where you could put a cap on how much is allowed to be spent. Can you see the screen?
I would say it's a new. I can't see any kind of cap or anything you're doing.
Can you see this now? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, and the general stuff with that is, and I think Coffee talked about this too, is it's so unclear. You know, you got Okari.o and saying some interesting stuff in the chat too about just the different words and things they use, and it's so confusing on enable, approve, like what there's nothing that can. I wish they would just make it where it's like you know exactly what's going to happen. The average person using the internet knows exactly what's going to happen if they click this button, and they're not going to be less safe from doing it. And so, you know, it's like, oh, do I put max? Do I put, you know, half? Do I put just what I have in my wallet? It's all these answers. And I think the general consensus right now is if you trust the DApp and you're not using some super important wallet, right, which you shouldn't be doing anyways with any DApp, that you don't want to lose all your money. If you're using just a wallet that has some stuff in it used for transactions, blah, 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 then if you super trust, if it's Uniswap or if it's, you know, PulseX, you know, we know those are made by people who have their head on straight and less likely to get hacked, all that stuff. There's always a chance, but you know, a lot of people say do max for that. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do more transactions to adjust it or revoke it and go through a whole bunch of stuff like that. So it's really it's not a great answer though. Yeah,
it does bring up a fun topic of how like we are. Like crypto is like a new thing. Like different people call different things, different words. Like it's like there's no clear definition of things. And I think a really good example is hex staking, where that staking isn't technically the right word for hex because you're not validating a network. You're burning your coins actually. So, right. Yeah, there's different people might call something different. So it is kind of funny, like, just shows we're so early, gang.
So early. I'm tired of being early, actually. I want to be like, can I be like midway through where we all got the mad gains already and we're laughing at people buying hex at $10? Can I be like midway through? Early.
Yeah, for real. All right, so last part of this just completely botched tutorial. We go back here and let's see if I did that. Oh, yes, thank goodness. So now you see, now I gave permission and now I can revoke. I'm blowing all my test PLS for you guys. Sheesh, making it rain.
So hard to get. So valuable. Yes.
And
everyone that says to touch the oh, this is a good point too. So what would happen if you click that and you weren't using a hardware wallet?
I would just approve it in MetaMask and then that's it.
And if somebody hacked your computer, that'd be pretty bad, right? Because they could just hit approve and they don't have to like touchy your physical device there, right?
Right.
That's where hardware wallets really shine, is especially if you get hacked, and unless they physically hack into your house, like they get into your house, they get access to your hardware wallet, which is plugged in your computer, and they virtually get it, then hardware wallets can be useful for preventing that. Hey, I need to actually physically touch something else that you can't get access to on this computer, even if you compromise it.
Yeah, I'm gonna link our last thing in the chat because like that was that demo for the last stream. Does a really good job of explaining the hardware wallet stuff. But
gotcha. Yeah, you want to wrap up with just for people who joined too recently, what you just explained, how to revoke permissions and stuff.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, if you've approved, like you've enabled a coin on a DEX or whatever, you have given permission to the smart contract to access your funds. So if you've done that on a sketchy place, you would want to go to revoke.cash or Etherscan token approvals. So if you're on Etherscan, you go to more, you go to token approvals, then you just connect your wallet this way. And if you have given approval to a malicious smart contract, then it doesn't matter if you have a hardware wallet. It's like you had a safe, but you left the door open to the safe, or you gave the code to a jerk. You thought you could trust your friend, and you gave him the safe code, and then he went and stole your money. And you're like, "Hey, I had a safe. I thought I was safe. I thought no one could get my money. That's the point of the safe." Well, if you give access to your safe to someone who's not trustworthy, they can still take your money. So this is kind of like taking away that access to your hardware wallet, taking away that access to your safe to what could be sketchy. So if you've gone around and done sketchy stuff in the DeFi space and you thought, well, I don't use that anymore, so I'm safe. Well, if you gave that sketchy thing permission, you never revoked it, it still has permission. So you need to go back and revoke it as soon as you can. So
yep, it's like let's keep going with the analogies, like giving an extra phone number, and now you got to change your entire phone number. They're going to keep texting you.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Chat, give us your best analogies for that situation. Feel free.
I do like the analogies. It's a good. It's always a good way to reach people. I feel like who are like new, I guess.
Definitely.
It's like you're escaping you climb a tree to escape a bear, and then you give the bear a ladder to climb up and kill you. That's a good one.
That is a good one. I like that. I got the imagery of the bear and the murder scene and the knife and all that stuff, man. I got it.
But yeah, and then the last note I would say is be careful, and I preach this on my channel a lot. Be careful with the sketchy things that are going to pop up on PulseChain. And to be honest, I think we've already had a fair bit of sketchy projects come, say, hey, sacrifice for us. And then Pulse Police Telegram, maybe I should link that. Pulse Police, I've sent this to a few people today who are asking me about some kind of new thing. And I was like, I don't know, man, you should go here and ask them. But these guys, they review the code of projects that have launched on Pulse. Like maybe it's an airdrop and people are like, everyone on Twitter is like, guys, claim the airdrop. And you're like, oh my gosh, I got to go do it. If you want to make
it's free money, hurry.
Yeah, Pulse Police is a good place to go to make sure before you give permission and before you sign to claim the airdrop and you accidentally sign away your money.
Yeah.
Give permission.
Here's my metric for figuring out if something is safe or not. The airdrops. I wait until 5 streamers have made videos on it, 5 different ones that I like,
Sure.
and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll check it out now. After 5 people have signed off that I respect in some way.
True.
Red Squirrel says like giving Alan a key to your front door. Yes, that's I don't know. I feel like Alan, he'd like probably go in there, like clean up your house and put some cool stuff on Netflix, maybe set some music and probably like leave you like some make you like a sandwich. He'd probably like take really good care of things and then just leave and just wait. He's like wait for you to come back and like have a good time. Yeah, delayed gratification. I like that. I'm a nice guy. That's why I like to envision Alan. That's his character right there. I like that. Alan, you got to come to Miami, man. Lots of people are going. Lots of people are going to Miami. Awkward silence for 10 seconds. You still have time, Ben. You still have time. Don't worry.
Maybe.
Oh, that's a good point, Okari. 5-0 default. That's true. There are exceptions. I would say that's the exception rather than the rule, though. I would say, especially in a community, I don't want to say as small as ours, but as close as ours, I guess you could say. I feel like five streamers of like, high quality streamers, however you define that. I would feel more comfortable than at least connecting my burner wallet to it and then claiming it and then kind of like waiting to see that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think another good thing of like how could you lose money with a hardware wallet is like, well, if you put your money in something that sucks and it doesn't do it and it goes to zero, well, you've also just lost all your money, even though you had a hardware wallet. So hardware wallet is like one thing. If you don't have a hardware wallet, like just take it seriously, please. Like it's $60 or something. Pretty sure Trezor's $69. I think Trezor's better than Ledger. I think it's a little easier to use. It's a little simpler. So why just do it.
If you feel like you're going to make considerable wealth in crypto, or you just don't want to wake up one day and feel really bad that you lost all those free airdrops, yes, hardware wallet is it doesn't do everything, but it does a lot of things and it makes life easier for your security posture.
If you're not being a unsmart person running around connecting to weird stuff, approving weird stuff, buying crap, and you're just chilling, then you're going to be good with the hardware wallet. Otherwise, I don't know. You'll hopefully learn from your mistakes.
Ledger and chill. Ledger. We need that T-shirt, Ben. Ledger and chill, or
Trezor.
Whatever you like. Trezor and chill. That actually sounds better. Yeah. Cracking up over Alan. I had no idea, Alan. I was just naming things of person of good character and quality that would if I gave him a key to my house. But that's Trezor way better. He's also on Team Trezor. If I make that shirt, or if anyone makes that shirt, if I make the shirt, I'll try to. I would like to make a new shirt. I need to make a PulseChain one. I just made the Hex one, which graphics. Going to see cryptographics. He's in town. I'll see him in a couple hours, and I got a shirt for him. The last Hex one I made, but I haven't made a PulseChain one yet. I don't think. Yeah, so I think I'm going to make a PulseChain one. Kind of already got some ideas for that, and then maybe a Trezor and chill shirt. I like that too. Maybe I'll make that one. Maybe I'll be giving some stuff out. Do?
I want to design like a Hex soccer jersey because I love soccer.
Ooh, okay.
I think that'd be sick. Like Nike, like cool design. It looks like a pro jersey, but it's like Hex, and then have a PulseChain one, and like you could get like Staker number 55 like on the back or something.
Ooh, I like that. We don't use that word anymore though, but yeah, I like the idea.
All right, minor.
My publisher 55. Yeah. Yeah, man. You wear it. You'll have to bring it on stream. I'll wear my baseball shirt. Apparently, it's a baseball shirt. I didn't even think about it.
I did order a sick hat from KSB.TV. I didn't even realize they had merch, but they have a really sick hat. It's basically just like this, but it has like the Hex, Pulse, and PulseX logos. Like it looks so sick. So,
I do want to replace the NIKE with 5555. I think that would be really cool. Nike logo with 5555. Probably some copyright stuff around that, but I think it'd look good. I got a question from Christian Colon. If I have all my coins in my ledger, will I get my copies when PulseChain launches, or do I need to send my tokens to MetaMask wallet to get copied? Ben, what do you got?
Sorry, I was reading the other chat. No, they'll still get copied because they're in your. You hold your keys. You have the seed phrase to that ledger. But if you want to swap and things, I would suggest connecting your ledger to MetaMask. And if you want to know how to do that, check out the last stream. We did a tutorial on how to do it the proper way. There is ways to mess up pretty drastically. So I would make sure you watch the video before trying to do it on your own because it is confusing. So
I'm gonna link to the we keep mentioning it. I'm just gonna throw it in the chat. The last stream here. If anyone hasn't seen that, yeah, that was really good demos in that one too. Thank you, Ben, for the other demo, man. Like, I mean, we appreciate anyone who does demos for this stuff because I did them a few too, and they're can be nerve wracking. So appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I think doing it live is like
yeah. I don't know. I can't do anything but live.
I should have had a cup of coffee before the stream, but I was like, oh, I'll be okay.
Helps. I do coffee and then I drink a lot of water so I don't get dehydrated because when I talk a lot, I tend to lose
Sure, I got my Gatorade right here.
Nice.
My powder Gatorade that I mix into water.
Nice. I did that before. Yes. Soccer jerseys, then the team can ban them.
I did order a Dorking Wanderers kit.
Oh, okay. What's that?
They're like a pro team in England, and Hex is their sponsor. So we got a new soccer team, but they're like lower division.
New soccer team.
Okay. Yeah, they're lower division than whatever that team, Barnsley. Barnsley's like a pretty well-known team, but
yeah.
This team is called. They have an awesome name, Dorking Wanderers. I just love the name.
That's awesome. Dorking Wanderers. Okay.
The jerseys. One of them looks really sick. The other one's okay. I got two of them. Let me just pull up their website because they had them for sale, like pre-order. I don't think it's going to come till like end of May, they said. But I'll pull it up. They look pretty cool. And yeah, hardware wallet doesn't protect you from being non-smart. I don't want to be like, if you're being an idiot. I mean, I try to keep things PG on my channel. So then now it's like a habit of like try not to curse or like say rude words.
Oh, I mean, you can just say anyone who clicks through all the warnings, they're gonna get what that behavior yields. It yields not good results. So you see red boxes, you see warnings, you see suspicious stuff, and you keep clicking. You run all the EXEs, you click on all the links. It's gonna happen. So you gotta dumb or smart. You gotta protect yourself.
All right, check this out. Look at that orange one. Isn't that sick?
I do like orange. Yeah, that's nice.
So I got that one and the red and white one.
I like it.
So I can't wait to wear those on stream.
Let's try not to offend their fans, so I want to get banned for the second time. We offended them by I don't remember what happened back then. I remember being on stream with somebody talking about it with one of the guys from the team. Actually, a lot of people liked us. I'm sure they still do. I'm sure we onboarded plenty of people from that.
Yeah, I remember one tweet they used was Richard Hart was criticizing the treatment of gay people in Saudi Arabia. They were like, look at him. And he was like, this is a pro-gay people tweet. He's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it was so many layers to what happened back then. Crazy. None of it was really rational. It was just like, it just felt like one of those weird things that somehow we got involved in. It was kind of like a no-brainer of, sports team sponsorship. I never thought they would be like, oh, let's look at their founder and pick out all his bad tweets and let's pick out other people involved in it and start dissecting their stuff. I just never imagined that.
Found like these two guys who didn't even really have a huge following. They were just in the community that like tweeted some stuff. It was like the most bizarre thing, man.
It was strange. I did not expect that, but well. All right, let's go for maybe another 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. I want to talk about Opsec, airdrops, and remind everyone that I coined the phrase, it's in the title, MACS are safer from hacks, because it rhymes and it's true. If you're using Windows, again, you can look at the previous stream where I explain more details about this. ask any questions if you need clarification. I won't go through the whole spiel on this one, but if basically the analogy, we're going analogies, full analogies today. If you are using Windows, you are driving down the bad neighborhood. You're looking around. You're looking in your rearview mirror. You're trying to get through there as fast as you can because you're not sure if you're going to make it out there with all your stuff or not. So if you don't want to do that, there's another option. It's called Mac OS. You can get a nice little pretty MacBook. You can get an iMac, all kinds of options, or use Linux if you're brave enough. I know there's actually Linux really isn't that bad. There's plenty of nice desktop versions. I know a lot of people are figuring out more about it now that they're being validators and they're downloading Ubuntu and figuring that stuff out. But there's plenty of Linux distributions that work fine too for desktop. Only thing is, if you're a gamer, like it's not really an option as far as that goes. But if you're not a gamer and you're not using Mac or Linux and you're still using Windows, again, you can use virtual machines to run your Windows programs. There's all kinds of options. But Macs are going to keep you safe from a lot of the malware because 99% of malware runs on Windows because 99% of people use Windows. So why wouldn't the malware writers just write all their stuff for that, right? So it's not foolproof. It's not 100% secure. None of that stuff. Nothing is, but it will keep you off of the bad street. It will keep you onto, hey, this malware, I went to this website, I just clicked the link on, it doesn't affect me. Now it can't hurt my computer because they're targeting Windows users, not Mac users. Again, anyone want clarification? I'll debate anyone any day over this topic. Answer all your questions. But even Alan has capitulated. Thank you, Al. So Red Squirrel Linux. Yeah, if you want to, there you go, people. I love it.
So I've heard that Linux is one of those things where, like, if you don't know what you're doing, it's actually less safe than Windows. Would that be accurate?
For Linux?
Yeah, like I heard that Linux is like kind of weird, and like if you don't know what you're doing, then like you could actually be less safe.
I can't think of anything that would make you less safe about using Linux versus Windows, even if you were new to Linux. I would love to hear if you had any references or examples. Or
I think it was in the Hex Security Telegram one time.
I can't think of anything. I've used all three operating systems for the last 20 years. I can't think of anything that you could mess up on Linux that wouldn't be the same for Windows or Mac, even being new to them. So, cool. But let me know if you hear something. I would be interested. I can't think of anything. I got a question from Scott before we move on to Opsec. Have a transaction pending, another in queue to revoke permissions. Can't cancel or speed up by increasing gas. Most of these advanced settings, never mind have. Don't want to screw myself. Yeah, what do you think, Ben?
I don't know. I guess wait. That's weird. I mean, did you use super low gas or something? It should. I can't imagine.
Sometimes you just got to wait a couple days. It sucks, but yeah, if you can't speed it up,
refresh the page. Maybe it went through and you don't know.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. It's just I've had transactions like that before, not with revoke in particular, but other stuff. And I'm just like, God, all right. Hopefully it's a situation where you can wait and it doesn't cause you a bunch of problems. Welcome to Wild SJ. Glad to see you up here.
Nice. Good to
Alan
see
says,
you.
oh my God, I used Ubuntu and ran Tor. I'm done with all that. That still works today, Alan. Let me tell you. Lots of people still do that. You don't even need to use Ubuntu and Tor. They have a whole Tor OS. So I'll quickly the VPN thing. And so instead of using a VPN for home, if you want to hide your IP address, just use Tor or proxy. And we talked about this last episode as well, but they're free. You don't have to pay a subscription for them. And you don't have to worry about the VPN keeping logs of your stuff, even though they say they don't, or monitoring your traffic, or just paying money for something that Tor can do, all that type of stuff too. So Tor works fine. It's free. It's been around forever. Proxies, look up how to use those. Super easy. You don't need VPN. Only time I use VPNs is for traveling, when I'm trying to avoid censorship of some sort in some country that doesn't like the websites I'm going to. Maybe I'm at a coffee shop. I don't like the Wi-Fi, even though they're kind of obsolete there, honestly, in my opinion, because a lot of modern browser security features take care of a lot of the attacks that they used to prevent. Or you just want to privacy, do nothing for security. They hide your IP address. You can do that with proxy or Tor. So that's my VPN rant in 60 seconds or less. I'm getting good at it. I'm getting good at concising it down. And if you want to know more, search RHMax VPN, and you can figure out all my longer form conversations around it. Yeah, Hexagon, yeah, I'll be interested to see what scenario they thought that would be less safe. Very interesting. I'm interested in hearing it just so I can be like, so I can see if there's anything to it. But let's see. Let's scroll there. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good distros. They look like Windows. 10 years ago, I wouldn't have said that. They don't work with printers, all that stuff. But now, unless you're a gamer, um, you don't have to use Windows, I would say. Gamer or Final Cut Pro. There's versions on Mac and everything else too. Maybe not Linux, but Mac, of course. Traveling maybe use unlimited phone tethering. Yeah, I mean, traveling, like I said, there's ways to use it. But if you're using it at home, VPN at home, I don't know why. I don't know why anyone would do that. There's other free options, I would say, not free VPN options. Other options says that. Anyways, let's get to Opsec. So something I picked up from Richard actually a while back that stuck with me, and I apply it in a lot of different things in life and otherwise too, is avoid going out of your way to say or do things that aren't in your benefit, have no benefit to you, and can only maybe cause you harm or cause you get in some weird situation. So, for example, don't tell people you have crypto. Don't wear clothes that say PulseChain million arbitrage. Don't wear, stuff like that. Like, if you're going to a meetup or whatever, where you're in company like that and you want to flash and show off, even then afterwards, I would probably change to something less crazy like that. If you're just wearing logos, I think that would be fine. But in general, if you don't want to be a target, don't make yourself a target. People tend to be attracted, or I would say, people who are looking to steal something or take something or do something to, malicious or take advantage of some situation are looking for signs that an opening, right? They're opportunistic. A lot of people are opportunistic if they're that kind of people. So if you go out of your way to expose yourself like that, then you're sort of you're in a way you're unintentionally, of course, but you're inviting trouble in a way. So wouldn't tell people I have crypto. Be careful with what the swag and stuff you wear, unless you're in obviously group meetup conferences, something like that. It's a little bit different. You can get a virtual credit card. It's something interesting that I don't think a lot of people, probably nobody does. Is you can get virtual credit cards. Just Google for virtual credit card, free, all this stuff. And you can basically link it to maybe another credit card, your bank account, whatever. And they'll give you this credit card that you can use any name, any address, whatever you want. And it's totally legit. There's nothing sketchy about it. It's just basically a proxy for your actual card. And then it stops spam, junk mail, all that stuff. Again, ton of legit services who do this, a lot of them for free. And you get prepaid debit cards to this too. Every physically store sells them, like Walgreens, every pharmacy I feel like sells them, Walmart, every gas station sells them. So you don't need to buy stuff online with your real information. You just don't have to. Now, if you want to get the stuff, you need to go, buy a PO box or something like that, or arrange it to pick it up at, your friend's house or whatever like that. But you don't need to keep giving out all this personal information on the internet. Just Google for how to not do that. And there's nothing sketchy. Again, it's all legit stuff. A lot of legit ways to do it these days. So again, you can buy a PO box. You can get a virtual debit card, credit card, whatever. Google for the options. There's plenty of them. I don't really need to recommend any. Just Google for virtual card and you'll find them. And then Proton Mail, again, I was clipping Richard today and he was like, yeah, Gmail reads all your emails. Yeah, he's pretty right on that. So get Proton Mail. That way you don't have to send it to your real email address. And then you can buy stuff online without using your real name, your address, your credit card, or your email. It's pretty good. It's the most anonymous you can get. So there you go. What do you think, Ben? Have you had any experience being anonymous on the internets?
No, that's all really good info. My brother did, he doesn't like crypto, but for some kind of work thing, they gave him these not your coins, not your keys, keychain things. He was like, here, Ben, I thought you'd want these. And I was like, oh, huh. And then my girlfriend put it on our key fob to go to the gym or the pool at our apartment complex. And I was like, no, I was like, take this off. I was like, I don't want to carry this thing around flashing to everyone hey, I have private keys, come find my apartment. Right. So and I used to it's this weird thing where I'm excited that I'm in crypto and I love and I'm passionate about it, so I want to tell everyone about it. But I have found that it's better to just say, oh, I do online work or something boring, because it just can get weird with people, for sure. And I have a whole story I could tell, but I don't know if we want to go down that rabbit hole of a kind of weird situation that happened once.
Ooh, well, I mean, just real quick. I mean, we can just real quick on that point. Just the fact that you saying that, like, you know, it may get weird with people. Again, it goes back to what I said. There's no benefit in doing this stuff. Like, it maybe you could even correlate it to delayed gratification versus instant gratification. Your instant gratification is, oh, I get to be flashy, I get to show people my stuff, I get to, maybe somebody gives me a compliment, maybe more people talk to me because I'm you know, I have something interesting that I'm showing that they want to ask me about. Yeah, sure. You get that little hit of dopamine or whatever, but now you just put your bags in danger. You put, maybe depending on where you are, yourself in danger even. So it's just not worth it. You got to think like, you know, it's no benefit in doing all of this stuff. Again, unless you're in light company, you're in a safe place, all those things. But yeah, where PulseChain, I love the PulseChain millionaire loading shirt. That's like a really popular shirt. But I would never wear that anywhere except to a conference. And then afterwards, I would not wear it out because I'm not trying to, I don't want to get robbed. So like, just don't put yourself in those situations. Yeah, man, if you got a story you want to share, go for it. If you got something that you think would help people.
Man, I was traveling. I was actually in Liverpool, and I told the Uber guy that I was in crypto, and then he was like, "Oh, you know, how much money you make from that? Is it a lot, you know?" And I was just like, "Oh, you know," making conversation I shouldn't have. And then our Airbnb was near the Liverpool Stadium, which is around the stadium is like public housing. So, and he was telling us, "Oh, you know, this is a bad neighborhood. You know, be careful, all this stuff." And he drops us off at the Airbnb, and he was like, I was like, all right, me and my girlfriend are going to go check he was like, I'll wait for you, you know, to make sure the car, you know, it's not a scam or whatever. And I'm like, okay, we'll go check it, and you wait here. And he just like got out of the car and followed us to the door. And then he followed us into the apartment and started checking. He walked all the way to the back door and like opened the door and was opening all the doors and was like, yeah, this looks good. You know, oh, just, okay, you got like a back entrance here and stuff. And then he was like, all right, you know, take your passports with you and lock the doors and be careful. And then he left. And I was like, so
Wow.
we literally went to a hotel. I was like, no way. I was like, we're not staying here. Like, all like,
That's strange. Wow.
yeah. And then we remembered when he picked us up, he literally picked up our luggage, and my girlfriend had like this new luggage she had bought for us to travel. He was like, "Oh, nice new luggage," and we didn't really think anything of it at the time. But then, in hindsight, I was like, "Yeah, that whole encounter was like really weird."
Yeah, sounded like he was trying to figure stuff out to perhaps come back and borrow it from you sometime. Yeah.
Yeah. So and my girlfriend was like, "Oh, I think it's fine." I was like, "No, we're leaving." So it was a costly mistake, because then I paid for I didn't get a refund for the Airbnb, but I was like, I'd rather pay for a hotel, and I had to pay extra because it was a last minute hotel booking. But I was like, I would rather do that than sit here and think like, oh, I'm going to get like
sleep
run
tonight
up on or whatever. Yeah. So, and it was not the best area, even though the Airbnb was nice. This guy could have just come and robbed me, and then they would have been like, oh yeah, it was like a crackhead or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So you would agree there's no benefit in talking about crypto to your Uber driver.
And then what was crazy is I called an Uber to take us to a hotel, and he accepted it, and then I had to cancel it, and I was freaking out. I'm dead serious. And so then I was trying to use a taxi app, and no one would take the thing. So I had to get like a Uber XL. Dude,
it was costing a lot of money on that particular trip. Yeah.
It was pretty stressful.
Wow. I bet.
That's a story, you know. It's just not worth it. And even if it's not a threatening thing, then you just have someone who's like, oh, crypto, oh, and they want to tell you about how much it sucks, and like they're just rude about it or weird about it, or they think you're like a scammer or something, like, oh, you're in crypto, so you must be like scamming people or like something. I've gotten that kind of vibe too. People are like, oh, you're like a scumbag. It's like, well, that kind of sucks.
No benefit in talking about crypto to or benefit. That's I've never got that. I don't think I've ever told a driver that I was in crypto. And I think, well, maybe last summer when we were at
As soon as I
PulseCon.
did it, I was like, oh, that was
Maybe.
stupid.
Yeah, that's a good point though too. Especially you don't want to talk about those things when they're taking you. So like, there's a difference in them dropping you off at a dinner place somewhere, and a difference in that trip or the trip to where you are staying or where you live. Totally different. So, if you're going to talk about it, don't talk about it when they're taking you home where you're going to be at night and stuff. Like, talk about it like you got a one-off taking you 10 minutes to a restaurant or something like that, and they're not picking up where you're staying, of course. So there's different spectrum of that. I did want to cover one of the things for airdrops that I thought of recently. So let's say that you have an airdrop that you don't need to connect your MetaMask wallet to. They just want you to claim. You submit your address, you give them, and then they put you on a list or whatever. You get the coins at some point or instantly, whatever, however it works. So the thing with that is, you got to remember is they're running that web server, like whatever website you go to, they're running that server. They have those logs, and so they can correlate the IP address with those who submitted those, their requests for coins, or they submitted their address and stuff. So you may think, oh, it's just my address, blah, blah, blah. But now they could, again, if they were trying to connect the dots, they could have your IP address and they could tie that to the address you submitted, which is probably yours. So they may be able to do some stuff, not, just because they have the IP address, unless they're super, they want to spend a lot of money or they're a nation state or something like that. They can at least kind of tell what area you're coming from. And they could also take that if they run other websites or they run other ways of getting your information, or maybe they hack other websites that they think you've used or other people have used. They can also all of a sudden dump all this data and start correlating your wallets, your IP addresses, which can kind of tell your location data a little bit, not exact location, but relative, and your ISP. And eventually they can, they could build this profile and try to, tweet timing and all this stuff. There's a lot of things they could do. And then when you go to a website, also, a lot of people don't know this, they can see your browser version, your operating system. They can kind of query for a lot of different stuff because your browser gives that away by default most of the time. And there's different extensions you can use, like a browser agent switcher, which I recommend actually. It can confuse some websites, so I wouldn't use it on everything, but for crypto browser, I think it's a pretty good idea to try to stop the correlation between the two. So I think that, the advice on that would basically be don't use your regular browser when you're doing stuff like that. You could use Tor, you can use something that has the browser agent switcher. You don't want to expose your IP proxy. If you're using a VPN, whatever, that would change your IP address too. But if, for example, if you want to do it with Tor, it takes 5 seconds. You install Tor, whatever. Click on Tor. It's just like a regular browser. Connect to the Tor network. And then you can use that. And there's also different proxy, in-browser proxy stuff, like hide.me. That's one website. And there's a whole bunch. If you just search for proxy server online, there's a bunch of stuff that will kind of route you through that. Got to be careful. Don't use it for sensitive stuff, because essentially it's kind of like the VPN thing. They can see the metadata, and they can actually see the browser stuff too. But essentially, you can use Tor for a lot of this stuff if you're signing up for airdrops, so they don't correlate your wallet with your IP address and start building this profile if they were wanting to do something like that. But don't do credit card information and stuff like that through it. So that's something that I thought of recently. I was like, I don't think anyone is even thinking about this stuff, and it's probably not going to happen anyways for a lot of people. But I thought it was something I could bring up and just people grok of, when you go to a website and you give them information, you browse it, especially if you give it your wallet information. You're giving them more metadata than you may think you're giving them. So put that out there, and I will look at the chat. Arizona RC, welcome. You're going to have to catch the replay game because we are wrapping up soon. I'm going to meet Cryptographics very soon as well. Donner Swans, a story about a guy mentioned he was a Doge millionaire. Tinder date forced him. Oh, God. I got to read these comments before I post them. Chad, that was a very funny story, though. I just gotta read those comments before I post them. Gotta stop doing that. When Nickelback, I am a fan of Nickelback. I think I've talked about this on stream before. I don't know why people hate Nickelback. I think they used to make a lot of great music. So Take that,
Yeah,
all
I liked
haters.
them a lot growing up, and they became a
Why
meme.
do people hate them?
I don't really know why.
Why do people hate them? They're like, they copy some song or do something like that, and all of a sudden everyone hates them. Like, that doesn't mean they didn't make good music. Like, whatever. Like, was
The
it
guy did have
Timberland?
funny hair though. Looked like
Timberland
ramen.
did that too, and they're like, "Oh, Timberland sucked." They're like, Timberland was fine. He was great. Him and the Justin Timberlake collaborations are like legendary, man. Like, what are you guys talking about? He like produced so many awesome albums. Anyways, I just want to get to Bob Nickelback, the guy's tweet here. I want to share or stake in Hex inflation credit pool. Could be called staking. It became a shareholder future inflation distribution that I burned Hex versus depositing in a contract is irrelevant. It's a great case, Bob. Yeah,
it's true, but
you're a
it kind of
publisher.
goes back to the main point that all these things can be called different things by anyone. So, like, you know, that's kind of the point. Yeah, like you are staking, but also like there's a different. Other people have a different meaning of the word staking in their head, so they're going to hear you say that and be like, "What?"
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. But
yeah,
I had a lot of it like that. So.
Are we getting minor rep? Are we getting minor rep V2? You think stake rep's ever going to change, or is that pretty set? You think?
I don't know.
Publisher app V2.
You know, I thought V2. I thought their update was pretty cool. I know some people were like upset about it. I don't really know. I just got it like the other day, and I was looking at it. I thought it was pretty cool.
Ben, anything else? What do you want to take us out on? Any last minute advice or good feels or anything else you're looking forward to or want to tell people about?
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of all paranoid now after you're just explaining how like people can like track you down and like all that stuff.
Not my intention, but you can use Tor. You can use Tor. It helps. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it is interesting because like if you are anxious about your security and stuff, your anxiety is like your body telling you, hey, you need to do something, you know? Like it's a tool.
Well, it's uncertainty, right? It's uncertainty, yeah. And depending on, it can either keep you anxious or it can it
like
can
motivate you to take action, you know?
Exactly. It can nudge you to take some sort of action. So I just don't let it make you anxious. Let it make you more aware. I would say it like that.
Yeah. It's a call to action. Your anxiety is like a call to action in some cases. It can be different, but for everyone. But yeah. So I would say just kind of my messaging before, just be careful with all the shiny objects on PulseChain. I don't care what you put your money in. Like I believe in everyone's freedom to buy what they want. But I would just say be careful of like there are going to be people who aren't necessarily honest who are putting things out that could be scammy. And there could be projects that are run by honest people who just the projects suck, and then you're like, oh crap. And you know, you put a little money in because you got a 10x or something. Not financial advice, can't see the future. You got a 10x or something on Pulse, and you're feeling rich. So you're like, you know what? I'll throw some Pulse into this. Then that project fails, and Pulse does another 100x. Not financial advice or something. Then you're like, wow, that little bit of money I thought I was just playing around with could have been, that actually turned out to be a lot of money that I was playing around with, but you didn't see the bigger picture. So I'd be careful with that.
That beer money could become a winery. You never know.
Yeah, and I would be careful too. I've fallen into the trap of like, oh well, I'm doing this to get more Hex. I'm doing this. You could fall into trouble. I'm doing this to get more PulseChain. PulseChain's already done this amount of X. I know this has a better chance of doing more X faster because it's newer. And then you fall into that trap and you can I've done this myself where I justified buying things that sucked and basically gambling and losing money because I was like, well, this is to get more Hex. This is to do this is a method of doing the long-term delayed gratification, which is good. And it's just like a cheap way to trick yourself, I think.
I totally agree, man. Now, so many people are like, oh, I'll get the airdrop and then I'll sell it for more Hex. And it's like, what happens is usually you get the airdrop. Now your consciousness is focused on that. Now you see your favorite streamer talk about it. Now you're buying more. And now it's not just the airdrop anymore. It is part of what you promote now. You're going to tell everyone about it. You're going to make it all good because you think you're a whale now. Yeah, it's not I love the way you put it like that, because almost nobody really recognizes that or talks about it. So I agree. One more question, real quick, from Red Bull Green Bear. How wise is to memorize 2 or 3 words from your seed phrase? I never thought about this. I don't see any problem with that, as long as, it's risky because
head or something.
What is it?
If you like lost your memory for some reason, I don't know.
That's the only thing I can think of, because I know I know everyone has the passwords that they remember, there's different iterations of them, whatever, but you'll like never forget them if you've been using them forever, that type of thing. Not that you should reuse passwords, not saying that, but I know everyone kind of does it every once in a while. To me, it kind of reminds me of that, but I never actually thought about that. If there's something, the risk is, like you said, you lose your memory, you somehow forget them. 1 or 2, I might go with or 2 or 3, I might go with 1. Maybe there's 1 word you can never forget, and you do that, and then that helps a lot. You don't need 2 or 3, I would.
But but even if you did 1, because you could pull up the list of possible words, you could then.
How long is that list though?
It's long. You'd literally sit there on your ledger putting them in one at a time. It'd take you like weeks, probably. Maybe.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they have ways to brute force that. You could do it with code, I'm sure. But the idea is to balance how long you're going to remember that word versus if you're getting targeted by somebody who can like brute force this stuff really quickly, then they probably don't even need your other word anyway. They probably already had your computer done all this stuff. So you got to balance like what's reasonable and what you feel like you're comfortable doing. But memorizing 1, 2, 3 words, destroying the rest, I don't know. Destroying the rest entirely, I feel like there should be some backup somewhere just in case, but that's actually not a bad word. It can be with 2 words. Brute force can be done in 2 words in seconds. See, yeah. Okari, if you don't mind, at me on Twitter. Can you show me a code example of doing that? I'm not doubting you. I'm just really curious to see if there's people writing code that does that. I'm sure there is, but I'd like to evaluate that, because that's a very interesting, attack to look at too. So, So if we have more data, again, I think if you did 1 word, you would just be protected against like the run-of-the-mill person who just stole your seed words, not a sophisticated or a person who knows how to do that, for example. If you do 2 or 3, again, the more words you do, the more at risk you're of not remembering them all, and then you just lose all your money. So yeah, I'm not sure how practical it is, although I think it's an interesting thing to think about. And Corey, if you can send me at RHMax on Twitter, if you want to send me any references or code you've seen do that, I would be very interested to look at that. So everyone, with that, thank you so much for tuning in today. Got to run. Thank you, Ben, for the demo. Ben, where can people find your stuff? Show your things.
So I'm at Ben Dubard on Twitter, and then YouTube, Ben Dubard. I'm 5 subscribers away from 1.4K. So, people want to help me out. And I've got some good tutorials there. Security stuff.
High five today, Ben.
Videos.
5 more.
Yes. And then I have, I do these things called a Moonterview, which are fun. RHMax, you're coming on for a Moonterview next week. Isn't that correct?
I'll be there, sir.
That'll be fun. We'll talk about
if a meteor hits, we got to reschedule. But if it doesn't, I'll be there.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how you went to preschool with Steve Jobs and you actually invented the iPhone. People don't know that about RHMax, but it's the truth.
They've been asking me to write a book about it, but I haven't decided how I want to tell the story. But maybe I'll open up on the Moonterview with you about it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a deep dive. What was Steve Jobs' favorite food growing up? That kind of thing.
I think he ate very much. Yeah, I think he was like the hippie that didn't eat much, right? That'll be an easy one. Apples. I think that's what his favorite food was.
But yeah, I'm also on LinkedIn, and I say that not a lot of people are. I feel like, I don't know, I'm doing it to try and, there's just not a lot of crypto people there, so I feel like it's a good place to go just to try and make it more legitimate. There are a lot of crypto scammers who DM me and are like, hey, we're both in crypto, let's connect. And then they're like, here's the new ICO, blah, blah, blah crap. And I'm like, oh, okay. So
I could see that. Yeah.
And then I'm on Instagram, Ben_Dubard, because for some reason it said Ben Dubard was taken, but then there isn't a Ben Dubard account anywhere. So I don't know what happened.
Damn it, Elon, fix it.
I know Mark Zuckerberg
Yeah.
is messing me up, but yeah, I
Him
do.
too. Let's blame him too.
Yeah, but yeah, I've been posting more on YouTube, so subscribe to me over
Yeah.
there if you want. Appreciate it.
Sub, like, smash all of Ben's buttons, and follow him on LinkedIn and all that stuff too. Everyone, again, excellent show. I feel like we got some value here in the security space. We think there's a lot of people starting to talk more about security now that PulseChain is coming. We don't want you to lose your bag. Nobody wants anyone to lose their bags. We want you to have the best chance possible at financial choices and freedoms and being the best version of yourself and all that good stuff. So everyone, thanks for tuning in, and Scivive and 5555. We are out.